In this video, we're going to talk through salary negotiation step by step. I've had a bunch of people reach out to me from my previous salary negotiation video, and they were requesting specific strategies. In the last video, I talked about 5 types of leverage to use to get a better offer, but I didn't dive into the strategies. So that's what I want to talk about today. Tip number 1, you want to maintain a neutral tone. You might be super excited to have this offer. It might be a great offer, or you might be bummed it's not such a great offer. Either way, don't show those emotions to the recruiter, even if they're kind of trying to prod and get an idea, gauge your interest. This leads me to tip number 2. Request at least 48 hours to review the offer, right? So even if they're kind of, trying to, work you and get you to sign right away or put a little pressure on you, that's their job, right? Don't worry about that, right? Don't cave to that pressure. Ask for the time. Now, 2 days is a perfectly acceptable time frame to do this. Some people request up to a week. Asking for more time than a week is kind of pushing it, right? There's probably some candidates in the pipeline that they have that they're pushing off to see if you're going to actually sign the offer or not, and they don't want to lose that candidate pipeline in the event that you might decline the offer. Tip number 3, craft a compelling case. I like to spend a couple hours crafting a narrative that lays out my argument for why I deserve more than the current offer. Now, to do this successfully, you need some type of leverage. If you want to understand the types of leverage, I go into those in more detail, 5 types of leverage, in another video that I have, and I'll put the video link in the description below. It's perfectly okay for you to ask for between 10 and 20% more than the initial offer. You have to remember that you're taking a considerable amount of risk by switching to a new organization and switching into the unknown. At least with the organization that you're currently in, you likely know all the problems, you know what you're dealing with and getting into. One script I'll share with you here, this is something that I actually used in an offer negotiation recently, was I'm very interested in the move to X company for a number of reasons, including 1, the challenge, 2, the quality of leadership, and 3, the product, future of the product. But I also have to temper my excitement and realize that by switching teams at Amazon, I'd have the opportunity to cultivate similar excitement. One thing's for sure, I know exactly what I'm dealing with, good and bad, by staying with Amazon. I go on to say, I will strongly consider signing with X company by X date before X time, with the following adjustments. 1, a total base salary is adjusted by X percent, 10%, something like that. And 2, fill in the blank, right? So this gives you some kind of narrative. What I'm trying to do is illustrate why I want to join, but that there's some hesitations there, and if they do X, I'll sign by a certain time frame. One thing to note here, guys, is that even if the offer is really high and you're super excited about it, it's still worth negotiating. You may have divulged your salary information early on in some of your calls, maybe some of the first calls that you had during the interview process, or maybe you have not. If you did divulge your salary and the salary offer came in and it's not at least 10 to 20% higher, there's some room to grow, and you can use that script that I just shared as kind of a base framework to kind of get you going on what you could either write back to the recruiter or say as your narrative during a call. If you didn't divulge the salary information and the offer is extremely high, don't just sign the offer, right? There might be some pieces of leverage, right? The offer might be so high and so good, but it might still be lower than the average salary range for that role within that company. So what you can do is look on some of the pay sites, Paysa, Payscale, Glassdoor.com, and look at those salary ranges and see what that position is for this specific city. To give you one form of an idea. Another piece of leverage is if you have an insider at one of these companies or at this company that you have an offer with, what you can do is ask them what the range is for that specific job title to gauge your idea of how much extra that you can request. In this scenario, you want to try, if you're trying to ask for more than 10 or so percent, you really want to try to display that type of leverage within your narrative, right? You want to say, hey, based on my skill set, maybe of some of the other people that are in this role, right? My skills are a little bit higher, or I bring something very unique to the table that I can kind of leverage in my narrative to get a little bit extra. Hopefully these tips helped you out a little bit, and hopefully you'll be able to get a little bit extra cash in your offer. It's definitely worth your time. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any comments, please leave them below. I'll be happy to answer them, and definitely subscribe. We got a lot more videos coming just like this. We'll catch you on the next video.